Tonight, a heartbreaking end to the search for a Canadian woman missing since the Hamas attack. A Canadian peace activist now confirmed among those killed more than a month ago. And in Gaza, an unfolding crisis at its largest hospital. Also tonight, new warnings about social media, screen time, and what all that scrolling is doing to kids.
You would see parallel increases in getting into fights, getting into arguments, acting aggressively.
And the teenage tennis phenom who helped Canada make history on the court.
I mean, she's just so stoic. Nothing phases her.
This is The National with Ian Hennemansi.
A Canadian woman who spent her life advocating for peace is now confirmed to have been killed more than a month ago when Hamas launched its brutal attack on Israel. Vivian Silver's family had no information on her whereabouts since October 7th. They feared the 74-year-old was among the hundreds taken hostage that day, but now her family says her remains have been identified, found in her kibbutz. Ellen Morrow joins us now from Jerusalem. And Ellen, after weeks of uncertainty, but also hope, this is terrible news for Silver's family.
It really is, Ian. CBC News reached out to Vivian Silver's son, Jonathan Zygan, and at first all he replied with was a broken heart symbol, and that really said it all. He then told us that his mother's remains were apparently found early on in the aftermath of the October 7th attacks in Kibbutz Be'eri, the community in southern Israel where she lived, but they've only just now been identified by investigators, and that speaks to the brutality of that day, Ian. Before the confirmation we have now, it was thought that Silver could perhaps be one of the hostages. Now, she was a very well-known Canadian-Israeli peace activist. She was born in Winnipeg, moved to Israel in 1974, and since that time has dedicated her life to pushing for peace in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Her son has been giving interviews about her life in recent weeks. He spoke to Adrian in the days after the October 7th attacks.
She's a woman of small stature, but in spirit she's a giant. She dedicated her life to peace work. She came to Israel 50 years ago, and since then she was just involved in activities to end the occupation and to solve the conflict between Israel and Palestine.
Now, Jonathan has also been talking a lot about the war, Ian. Despite his own pain, his own anguish, he is against Israel's offensive into Gaza, saying it's not the right thing to do and not what his mother would have wanted.
Ellen Morrow in Jerusalem tonight. Israel's tanks and troops have reached the gates of Gaza's largest hospital and what Israel's military says is a key Hamas stronghold. Al-Shifa is said to house hundreds of the sick and injured, as well as other civilians seeking shelter. As the airstrikes got closer, some managed to escape to the south through Israel's evacuation corridors, but an unknown number remain. Israel has long said that Hamas militants have used al-Shifa Hospital and others as cover for their underground bunkers, and in recent days they've closed in. Briar Stewart now with new video released tonight by the Israel Defense Forces that it says proves its accusations and the growing international concern over what could come next.
We are now in the area of the basement of the hospital.
In this video released by Israel's military, it says Hamas used the Al-Shifa hospital as a command center and to hold hostages.
A woman, clothes, and a rope.
The video shows explosives along Kalashnikov rifles. There are also baby bottles and diapers, as well as curtains that have been strung up on top of a wall.
No reason to put here a curtain unless you want to film hostages and deliver movies.
CBC News has not been able to verify any of the video. This was the Al-Shifa hospital 5 days ago, full of pediatric patients, including some who were receiving cancer treatment. Doctors said they were quickly running out of supplies as the fighting raged around them. But Israel says Hamas was using some of the most vulnerable to shelter itself. Not far from the hospital, the military says they found this.
This is a cover tunnel.
A tunnel complete with electricity that runs 20 meters deep.
This is Hamas using hospitals as human shield, as terror machines. This is not the last hospital like this in Gaza.
Israel says there's also a command center under the al-Shifa hospital, Gaza's largest, which is now surrounded by intense fighting, as hundreds of patients are reportedly still inside. The hospital director told CBC News that a generator running incubators shut down. He said at least 4 premature babies died and more than 30 others are at grave risk.
Because now without oxygen, without incubators, they lost feeding, especially milk is not available now for them.
Israel says Hamas is preventing the patients from being evacuated.
I don't believe them.
Dr. Mustafa Barghouti is with the Palestinian National Initiative and has been to al-Shifa many times.
They say there are tunnels nearby, near hospitals. What does near mean? It could be 500 meters away. But even if that was true, it doesn't justify bombarding hospitals. It doesn't justify killing children.
And according to the UN, thousands have already been killed, while so many others are now traumatized from fleeing homes surrounded by violence. There's mounting international pressure to at least temporarily stop the fighting.
Well, I remain somewhat hopeful, but the hospital must be protected.
Briar, there were more signs tonight of efforts to negotiate a deal to release some of the hostages.
That's right. The U.S. president spoke about some of the efforts underway to secure a deal to release hostages in exchange for some kind of pause in fighting. Hamas said tonight that it was willing to release 70 hostages in exchange for a 5-day truce. Israel has consistently said that there will be no ceasefire without the hostages being released.
Briar Stewart reporting from Jerusalem. Israeli forces and militants in southern Lebanon continue to clash along the border. One strike narrowly missed a television crew. This Lebanese reporter was covering the latest shelling. As the camera was pointed towards the Israeli side of the border, there was an explosion. No one was injured and no one has directly claimed responsibility. Since October 7, strikes in Lebanon have killed 1 journalist and injured 6 others. 10 more people with ties to Canada have made it out of Gaza and into Egypt tonight. They're joining hundreds more who have now escaped the war zone. But as Tom Perry tells us, for others still trapped, it's not clear when they'll be able to make it out.
They arrived before sunrise. More than 230 Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and their families finally out of Gaza, exhausted but relieved. By afternoon, Canada's embassy in Cairo was in high gear, with some evacuees looking for a landing pad.
I told for myself I have to go. I have to move from Gaza because it's not safe.
Others just want to get home, like Sabrine Albergawi from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, who was visiting family in Gaza with her 4 children when Hamas launched its attack on Israel.
I hope to see my family. I hope to know they are good.
Israel's retaliation has her fearing for her relatives still in Gaza.
I came here, but I am not happy. I am worried about my family there. Really, I'm thinking of them. They're not safe. They're not safe.
With this latest group, a total of roughly 350 Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and their families have managed to leave Gaza. But Global Affairs says roughly 600 have asked the department for assistance.
I feel powerless. I feel like helpless.
Falestine Abacedo arrived in Cairo this morning with her brother, his wife, and their daughter. She's still waiting for word on her Palestinian husband, along with her mother and twin 8-year-old siblings, all of them Canadian, all still in Gaza.
I was expecting them today, but they, according to the list, no Canadians got out today.
Canadian officials still can't say how long it will take to get every Canadian out. And so right now, some Canadians are here in Egypt planning their next move. Some have gone back to Canada, and others are still in Gaza, still trapped, waiting for their names to be called. Tom Perry, CBC News, Cairo.
Tensions over the war have shaken up the government in the UK and has led to the surprise return of a former British Prime Minister. Chris Brown explains.
As political resurrections go, this one was pretty dramatic. David Cameron, who famously called the Brexit referendum and then resigned as Prime Minister when his Remain side lost, unexpectedly returned from the political dead to be Britain's Foreign Secretary.
I've decided to join this team because I believe Rishi Sunak is a good Prime Minister doing a difficult job at a hard time.
Cameron was just with Sunak at remembrance services this weekend, along with the 3 other Conservative Prime Ministers who've served since he quit, underscoring how unstable the leadership here has been. The opposition Labour Party suggested recycling Cameron won't improve things.
The country needs change. I mean, this isn't change, bringing back David Cameron. And actually what it is more of the Tory psychodrama.
Cameron does know lots of foreign leaders, but he may also be appealing to voters in the political centre. The former Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, who was fired in the shuffle, was one of the government's most polarising figures.
They are hate marches. Now,
she accused London police who answered to her office of siding with pro-Palestinian groups, inflaming a combustible dynamic.
The big story in the British news today would have been how a right-wing Home Secretary had been sacked by the government. David Cameron's reappointment has effectively eclipsed that story.
Cameron does not have a seat in the House of Commons, so to be Foreign Secretary, King Charles appointed him to the House of Lords. There are already discussions about how to hold an unelected minister in one of the most important cabinet positions to account. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
Iceland is still bracing for what could be a significant volcanic eruption at any moment now. Thousands of people were told to leave the town of Grindavik over the weekend. The area southwest of the capital has been hit with tens of thousands of tremors in recent weeks, including hundreds today alone. Scientists say all that seismic activity could force molten rock to the surface. A state of emergency is in effect. Voters in the Northwest Territories go to the polls in just hours now. The election was delayed earlier this fall after wildfires triggered evacuations. And as Juanita Taylor shows us, those fires are just one of the big issues that voters are weighing.
After 4 weeks of campaigning, the Northwest Territories is about to head to the polls. And with no political parties, every candidate is running as an independent.
It's not going to be a cakewalk. 4, 5, 6.
These seniors say the issues are many.
There are going to be challenges, and hopefully we'll get the people that will roll up their sleeves.
Like housing, the territory is facing a chronic shortage of homes. This store owner in Fort Smith says the shortage has hit a crisis level.
We have been through disasters now of COVID and of forest fire and evacuations, which have been incredibly detrimental. But the slow boiling pot that has been there to slowly killing us in our economy has been the housing crisis.
And on the horizon, job losses with the impending closure of Diavik Diamond Mine.
When you lose a world-class mining operation that's a significant contributor to the economy, that's pivotal.
The territory was expected to vote in October, but unprecedented wildfires delayed the election and made wildfires one of the top priorities for voters. In August, a fire forced Bobby Drygeese and his community of Detta to evacuate. He's calling on the next government to be better prepared.
Well, first off, they need a plan, just emergency plans for wildfires, for road systems, for gathering spots, for all the information that they need to get out, and backup plans, plan Bs, plan Cs. And
I would hope that the new Legislative Assembly pays attention to those top priorities. I hope that they are prepared to make hard decisions about what they prioritize.
One of the first issues they'll face is how the government handled those wildfires, spending tens of millions of dollars at a time when the government's debt was already growing. And there's no guarantee Ottawa will extend how much the territory can borrow. Juanita Taylor, CBC News, Yellowknife.
And CBC News will have live election coverage tomorrow, starting at 7:30 Mountain Time. You can watch it on CBC North, CBC Gem, or on CBC North's YouTube channel. Public health officials are investigating a Salmonella outbreak that is highly resistant to antibiotics. 40 cases have been detected in 6 provinces since 2020. Many of those who have become sick are young children. 2 probable sources have been identified: contact with cattle, especially calves, and exposure to raw pet food. An outbreak of a deadly virus found in horses is raising concern in Nova Scotia. It's called equine herpes, and it's highly transmissible. As Kayla Hounsell tells us, it's already led to the death of at least 1 horse in the province.
These horses are healthy and curious, and their owner is doing everything he can to keep it that way.
We shut our shows right down and shut everything down from horses coming in or out.
Horse events across Nova Scotia are being cancelled after confirmation of an outbreak of a deadly virus, equine herpes.
We should have been told by some higher up, and it's pretty serious illness, I hear.
Horses first get a fever or a nasal discharge, then start to stumble.
I think any time that we see neurologic disease in horses, it's a very serious incident. Quite often it does not go well.
Dr. Trevor Lawson says there is 1 lab-confirmed case and 3 other presumptive positives. All 4 horses are dead. The virus is highly transmissible, spread through a horse's nasal secretion or by people coming into contact with a sick horse and touching another.
Don't be saucy now, don't be saucy.
Lawson says he believes the virus is contained to 1 barn, but in Nova Scotia, it's difficult to know for sure. There's no requirement to track the disease here. In Ontario, the provincial government has made reporting it mandatory.
And one of the reasons Ontario does that is because they have a very significant equine industry based around racing, and they've taken that road as trying to inform the horse community.
I do believe that it is something that should be reportable.
Nikki Porter is taking extra care, changing footwear before she goes into her tack shop to protect her customers' horses.
It really is up to the equine community to just be as open and transparent and honest as possible.
She estimates she lost $5,000 by canceling a horse show. Bruce Trenham figures he's lost $2,000.
But it's a bigger cost to start losing horses.
Experts say the next 2 weeks will be critical in determining whether the virus has been contained. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Northport, Nova Scotia.
Canada's win at the Billie Jean King Cup is putting an emerging star on the map.
The way she did that, it's something that's really rare to witness.
From unknown to unreal.
That's her go-to point.
The rise of Marina Stakusic in the international tennis spotlight. Plus, the Grey Cup arrives in Hamilton. The final preparations ahead of the big game. And as screen time surges, why quality might mean more than quantity.
As I'm watching this, what are you guys seeing in my brain?
We're back in 2. The Grey Cup is in Hamilton, Ontario tonight. The CFL trophy arrived by naval escort earlier today. Hamilton will host the championship game on Sunday. Winnipeg takes on Montreal in the 110th Grey Cup. Canadian tennis fans still buzzing over the women's team's first ever Billie Jean King Cup victory this weekend. Star player Leylah Fernandez sealed the deal, but as Stephanie Scandera shows us, a dynamic up-and-comer is giving fans a new name to cheer.
That's her go-to point.
And with that, a new Canadian tennis star was born. Marina Stakusic, just a couple weeks shy of her 19th birthday, with a win that helped Canada secure the Billie Jean King Cup, basically tennis's World Cup for women.
Marina Stakusic announcing herself on the world stage.
Born in Mississauga, Ontario, Stakusic caught the tennis bug early from watching her older brother Marco play. Her natural skill was evident from the start.
Total focus, total commitment, never missed the ball in the middle of the racket every single time.
Michael Thompson coached Marina from the time she was 8 years old and says she's always been able to handle pressure.
Her mental game, I mean, she's just so stoic. Nothing phases her.
It all came together in September.
I'm super happy and honored to be named ITF Player of the Month. I had a great month of September, winning my first 2 singles pro titles back-to-back, and I'm excited to keep going.
And then she was selected over more experienced players to play crucial matches during the run to the final.
You need to break the ice at one point, but the way she did that and winning 3 matches out of 4 in the top 100, and it's something that's really, really rare to witness.
One day, Stakusic hopes to play like her idol, Novak Djokovic. In the meantime, her former coach says she should be given room to grow.
The nation has embraced her as of yesterday, but let's all just be hopeful, and we'll see. She's only 18.
But at her old tennis club, Marina Stakusic already has dedicated fans, young students who are studying her game.
The person drilled it cross court, and she just rolled it right back.
She's just kind of came from a normal background, a normal family, grew up where I'm growing up now.
She was a very big inspiration for me.
Already a legend in the making. Stephanie Skandaris, CBC News, Toronto.
New research suggests all that scrolling on social media could be taking a toll on kids.
You would see parallel increases in their tendency to report getting into fights.
The lasting impact and what's being done about it. Plus,
hey, Mr. Bear, stop getting in my garbage can.
The dangerous spike of bears approaching human habitats.
It's been wild. We've had numerous calls a day, all times of the day.
The role of climate change and the push for a solution. But first, fighting Islamophobia in schools across Canada.
Caseloads have skyrocketed in all areas.
The program that's in place and why some say it's failing. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next.
Inside. He's inside. He's at the top.
These are the panic moments after a house exploded in Toronto over the weekend. The owner is missing. Neighbors say he was inside at the time of the blast.
People were frantic and screaming, trying to go over there, but it was no use because the fire was so intense and high.
Now that the fire is contained, crews are searching the rubble for the owner's body. They still don't know what caused the explosion. A new Senate report is raising the alarm about Islamophobia in Canada, and it says women who wear the hijab are often targeted. As Deanna Sumanak-Johnson reports, some say things have only gotten worse since the start of the Israel-Hamas war.
This university professor has worked with school boards in rural Alberta, using art projects to help fight prejudice against Muslim students.
Female students who are wearing the hijab, a very common racial slur that these students confront in their everyday lives is, why are you wearing this piece of cloth on your head?
She says the Israel-Hamas conflict has upped the intensity.
It is in times of war that you witness a hardening of identities. Everybody becomes aware of, ethnic origins, where they're coming from.
The new Senate report on Islamophobia found that it is a daily reality for many Muslims. One of the report's main recommendations: launch a multimedia campaign and educational resources on Islamophobia that can be incorporated into classrooms. Yet this school board in a Peel district outside of Toronto is the only one in the country to have produced a board-wide strategy on Islamophobia. It includes things like mandatory annual training for teachers on how to be culturally sensitive to Muslim students. But even there, it's unclear whether teachers have yet been trained on the strategy. Asia Khan helped write it, and she says it can't be implemented soon enough.
They had completed the strategy, which was the first step. But now I think community is kind of holding their breath and waiting, right? We want to see kind of the ways in which we move this into action.
The organization she works for noted a significant rise in calls from community members who say they've faced hostility, prejudice, or attacks since October 7th. Some of those calling were parents.
Caseloads have skyrocketed in all areas, right? The work that we do in our spaces.
Khan is also working with Teacher College students, the future educators, to help support Muslim students. School boards in Toronto and London, Ontario are also about to develop plans to fight Islamophobia. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Now we go deeper into the story shaping our world. Some people in BC are angry that hundreds of bears have been destroyed this year for invading people's spaces. There are ways to reduce that. But first, teen mental health battered by social media. This is the breakdown. New research reveals what too much social media is doing to your kids.
Getting into fights, getting into arguments.
Smartphones let them overdose on short bursts of sensation.
Being on my phone for excessive amounts of time but not really absorbing anything.
Now scientists have measured how all that scrolling takes a toll. Health reporter Christine Burak breaks down the disturbing findings and how to help your kids get back on the right track.
Researchers now say almost all teens are spending about 8 to 9 hours a day staring at screens. That includes TV and video games. But new studies are showing what's really taking a toll on their brains is social media.
We have these two studies that were able to uniquely show that social media affected behavior and symptoms over the long term.
One of those studies included nearly 4,000 Canadian adolescents who participated in annual surveys for 5 years. Researchers found social media use is associated with longer-lasting increases in conduct problems.
You would see parallel increases in their tendency to report getting into fights, getting into arguments, acting aggressively.
Patricia Conrad teaches psychiatry at the University of Montreal. She says kids do many things on social media, but it's possible that instead of doing mentally challenging tasks that develop strong cognitive and decision-making skills, teens are spending more time passively scrolling through short, unedited content with few sophisticated messages or storylines.
It's a very passive way of using your brain and doesn't train it to begin to develop some of the cognitive control that you need in order to be a mature decision maker and thinker.
Being on my phone for excessive amounts of time but not really absorbing anything was a very common thing for me.
As a teen, Olivia Miller says she felt anxious, depressed, and addicted to her phone.
When I experienced overwhelming thoughts or feelings, I would go to my phone and I would just find something that would distract me.
33 U.S. states are now suing Facebook and Instagram owner Meta, alleging it knowingly makes social media addictive to children. Whistleblowers say the company's own in-depth research showed a significant teen mental health issue, including boosting suicidal thoughts. Scientists say they know smartphones reduce well-being. The question is, for what groups, by how much, and what can we do about it?
There's really a lack of awareness.
Emma Durden is trying to answer some of those questions. She's a Canada Research Chair in Neuroscience and Learning Disorders.
Okay, so what do we have here?
So this is the FNIRS cap that we're going to be using today.
She and her team here at Western University are studying how screen time and content can rewire our brain.
As I'm watching this, what are you guys seeing in my brain?
It's telling us which parts of the brain are being activated when you're watching this movie.
So if I were to stop watching this and start scrolling through my phone, would you notice a difference?
Absolutely.
Durden says screen time can reshape some regions of the brain, especially in young people.
We saw slower brain development in children who've been exposed to high amounts of screen time, particularly in the prefrontal cortex, which are brain regions that are so essential for academic achievement, for learning and memory.
Students are coming to me with concerns that, they can't focus during exams because they're so used to scrolling on TikTok or looking through their phone.
We're finally starting to get the signals that we need to prompt the regulation.
Child psychiatrist Rachel Mitchell says governments need to rein in social media companies, but she says parents also need to talk to their kids about how they're using social media.
Get them to understand or to self-evaluate. How do you feel after 40 minutes versus how do you feel after 2 hours?
Health Canada says online service providers must be held accountable for the harmful content on their platforms, and it will be proposing new laws soon.
I didn't really realize that there were actual strategies in place on social media and phone apps that were keeping me hooked on it.
Miller turned off her notifications and set boundaries for using her phone. Instead of missing out, she now feels like she's taking life in.
So we heard from lots of scientists, but what's a parent to do about all of this? Let's check in with Catherine Johnson-Martinko. She's the author of the recent book, Childhood Unplugged, Practical Advice to Get Kids Off Screens and Find Balance, and she is a mom. I know you did a lot of research on this topic for your book. What did you think of what you saw in Christine's story?
I thought that Christine's story was bang on. I mean, all of the points that she brought up are things that I've researched and have been following, especially recently. I think that there's a lot more research coming out lately that's showing the detrimental effects of excessive social media on kids, and it's really great that we're talking about this. We know that teens are spending upwards of 9 hours a day on their phones, and a lot of that is on social media, and there's been huge shifts in the ways that teens are using their time. They're getting less sleep, they're spending less time with other people in person and more time online, and none of this is a great combination for mental health. So another thing that I think is important to think about is what else are they missing out on when they're spending that much time on their devices? They're missing out on real life, and that's something we should be very worried about.
So to quote the subtitle of your book, give us a couple of examples of practical advice to get kids off screens.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm a proponent of delay as being a great strategy. So hold off giving your kid a phone as long as you possibly can. I know that's hard. I do have a kid who's in grade 9. He doesn't have a phone yet, and that is a point of ongoing contention between us. But I just don't think that the benefits outweigh the risks yet at this point. So I think that it's really important to help your teen develop an interesting offline life. So it's one thing to just tell them to get off their devices, but they need to have other things to do. So help to foster different habits and encourage them to have in-person hangouts with their friends. Build independence in your child to get out of the house and do things on their own. You know, a lot of kids are staying home, and the parents tend to think that they're safer to be at home on their devices, but in fact, it's much better for them to be out in the world, exploring and expressing themselves. One thing that I tell parents is to limit the screen time severely if you can. So it's okay to have really hard limits of like 1 hour a day. 2 hours absolute maximum is what is considered to be non-detrimental. If your kid does want to be on social media, one good strategy is you can let them have those accounts at a certain age, but that they should only be able to access them on a computer. That way they are not tempted to pick up that phone every single second of the day in their pocket and check on their news feed.
You wrote about your 14-year-old not being allowed to have a smartphone, and I think you said he is or may well be the only kid in his class who doesn't have that phone. So you touched on it, but like, how's it going? Like, we're in November now, and deep into the school year. How does he feel not having that smartphone?
Well, it comes up in conversation for sure. But what's interesting is there's been a lot more discussion this fall about the role of phones in schools. And there's now more and more schools that are choosing to eliminate phones from their schools. They're telling students not to bring them anymore. And so my son is kind of starting to see how much chaos they create in the classroom and how much distraction. We know that teens are really struggling to focus on their lessons. You know, the highest phone users have the lowest grades. That's been shown in studies. So I've told him that even if he had a phone, he would not be allowed to take it to school, which obviously sort of defeats the purpose of having it. Over the course of my research, I did talk to teenagers whose parents had restricted their phone use, and these were teens who were, on the other side of high school now, and they were so grateful to their parents for having created those limits. And they said that they struggled to see what a lot of these other teens found so interesting about these tiny devices in their hands all the time. So I do think that there are ways to create more interests and more hobbies and more curiosity about the world when the kids aren't on the devices all the time.
All right. Catherine, thank you very much for going through this with us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Catherine Johnson-Martinko is an author and a mom. Bears are becoming bolder, and it could put their lives and human lives at risk.
Bears going to learn to associate their backyard, this park right here, this playground, with a food source.
How to protect your home from becoming a target. The growing threat from BC's bear invasions.
Hey, that's my garbage!
In the name of public safety, hundreds have been killed.
And we understand the public hates it.
It feels so unnecessary.
Forest fires help drive the problem, but so do some people.
These bins aren't being cleaned out.
So if we can smell it,
a bear could definitely smell it.
The toll on the bears is the highest in a decade. Lindsay Duncombe breaks down why they're feeling more at home near people's homes. And a warning, you may find some of our images disturbing.
What's the bear situation been like there this year?
One of the busiest years that we've had.
Across British Columbia, bears and humans are getting in each other's way.
Yeah, it's been wild. We've had numerous calls a day, all times of the day, all days of the week.
We're on patrol in bear country with Conservation Officer Alicia Buchanan. She's based near Vancouver. Buchanan has been a CO for 7 years, and she's never been this busy.
It's close to double than what we had last year.
Twice the number of bear calls in Chilliwack.
Mm-hmm. Over 400 calls alone in Chilliwack so far since January 1st till now.
Hey, Mr. Bear, stop getting in my garbage can.
It all comes down to food.
Hey, that's my garbage.
Bears need 20,000 calories every day to prepare for hibernation. And when they can't find food in the forest, the quest to eat and eat and eat can lead right into communities.
That bear is getting habituated to being around people and identifying that this person is where I'm getting my food source from. So it's taking away that natural fear of people as well.
So if the bears aren't scared of people, if someone is there, would they attack or protect their food?
I mean, the possibility is there. And so that's why we have to step in.
Sometimes stepping in is lethal.
Oh, the bear's scared.
This food-conditioned bear was close to a public swimming pool, so Prince George conservation officers made the call.
Oh, no, he killed it.
From January to the end of September, BC conservation officers destroyed 460 black bears, the highest number in more than a decade.
We hate it, and we understand the public hates it. Nobody wants to see an animal get killed. So when you have to remove one, that's the worst day for me. I can't think of a worse day in my career other than having to remove bears.
She says this alley, behind several restaurants, is evidence humans need to do better.
Oh, see, bear can get right in there.
Yep, and there's garbage in there.
Huh.
And you can smell it too, right? Like the bin, these bins aren't being cleaned out.
So if we can smell it...
A bear could definitely smell it.
Yeah, and would it be dangerous for a bear to just become in here?
Absolutely, because I mean, if a bear is feeding in either of these are all business doors, and these people, employees, are coming out to put their waste away. They have no idea what's already out here. Not to mention, there's a daycare right at the end of this road
with kids.
With kids, we certainly don't need bears coming into this.
Kids are a concern. This Whistler Park near an elementary school was closed down because a grizzly kept returning to munch on grass at the soccer field. It was trapped and relocated, but still came back.
I think it's very reasonable to be worried about having bears in town, but there are so many things we could be doing differently to contribute to their safety as well as our own.
Corey Hardiman lives in Prince George. The northern city has been the epicenter of bear-human conflict this season. One of them, this male, in Hardiman's backyard.
They shot him, and it was really upsetting, really sad. Obviously, you know, they have a mandate to keep people safe, but it's also, it feels so unnecessary.
Who do you blame for the fact that this happens so much in Prince George?
I blame the fires. We were socked in by smoke all summer long. Habitat destruction is happening all around us all the time. I blame us. I blame human beings.
Many bears are really dependent on berries in the summer. And
what's happening to bears in Canada isn't just one thing, says Cole Burton, a wildlife biologist at the University of British Columbia. His trail cameras capture images of bears deep in the forest. In some places, wildfire may have destroyed habitat. In others, drought has meant a lack of berries.
It's been quite dry, and that a lot of the berry crops have failed in many areas. So I think that would be enough to potentially really significantly reduce an important food source for bears.
The problem isn't limited to BC. In Churchill, Manitoba, conservation officers responded to 76 calls about polar bears as of August this year. That's triple what they would normally deal with. It took 10 people to tranquilize and move this bear. And in Alberta, tragedy. A grizzly killed a couple on a backpacking trip in Banff National Park.
Are these things connected? Are grizzlies and black bears and polar bears experiencing the same stresses?
in some sense, yes, because climate change is a global phenomenon. It's a large-scale phenomenon. So we're seeing these changes.
A stressful time to be a bear.
We're throwing a lot at them, you know, between the changing climate, the growing and dynamic human population. And if we squeeze them in, if we don't give them the space to adapt, there could be trouble.
Preventing trouble with bears is Olivia Lemke's job. She works for WildSafe BC in Kamloops. She goes to neighborhoods like this with heavy bear traffic and shows people what they can do to keep themselves and bears safe.
My name is Olivia Lemke and I'm with WildSafe BC. I'm just doing education in the entire neighborhood about bears because there's been a little bit of bear activity lately. Okay.
She spends a lot of time asking people to pick their fruit trees because look what happens when a bear finds pears growing on a backyard tree.
It is on somebody's property. The bear's going to learn to associate their backyard, this park right here, this playground with a food source. And he might remember this and come back next year and come back to the same tree and eat it again.
So Lemke shares tips with homeowners.
I can suggest in the springtime blowing off the blossoms with like a pressure washer or a hose. That will reduce the number of fruit that's actually like produced that year.
Okay. What's the response you get from people when you point these things out? What kind of things do they say to you?
They're very, very receptive to the idea of helping the bears and helping to clean up their yards.
But cleaning up can be complicated.
It's a bear buffet. It's a tree with no one here to maintain it, right?
Alicia Buchanan was called to an apple tree on a vacant lot.
So has a bear been here?
Absolutely.
How do you know?
Some of these apples have been eaten already.
So they got bite marks in them.
They've got bite marks right in the apple.
So what needs to happen with something like this?
If there's nobody to maintain the tree and there's nobody utilizing the apples, it should be removed.
She'll try to track down the owner and get them to deal with the tree. The kind of work she's hoping to have more time to do once the bears have finally finished feasting and gone to sleep.
So, Lindsay, what are the penalties for leaving garbage out?
Well, many communities have specific bylaws, so breaking bear rules could cost you up to $500. And under BC's Wildlife Act, it is illegal to feed bears deliberately or to disobey an order to clean up attractants. And those fines can be pretty steep. The maximum penalty, $100,000 or a year in jail.
So spotting bears in your property, let's say, can make people anxious, but how they respond to it can be contentious.
Well, it's really divisive right across the province. We spoke to one man who said his neighbors got mad at him because he called conservation officers after a bear broke through his fence. We heard over and over again that there is reluctance for people to call conservation officers because they don't want to see the bears get shot and killed. Now, conservation officers tell us that that is a last resort. They prefer to tranquilize the bears and relocate them. But the problem is, Ian, sometimes the bears just keep coming back.
Lindsay Duncombe reporting from Burnaby Mountain tonight. Coming up, Alaskan skaters hit the jackpot with crystal clear conditions.
Being able to look down 3 or 4 meters and see what's on the bottom, it was totally surreal.
Glide along with us as this once-a-decade ice window unfolds. That's next in our moment.
I'm Damon Fairless. Tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, protests around the world have called for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. What would that look like? Why is it being rejected? Listen wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube.
As smooth and clear as glass, skaters in Alaska have been enjoying flawless ice conditions on a group of alpine lakes. A very cold, dry stretch of weather produced the unique surfaces, and tonight that natural frozen playground is our moment.
It was totally surreal. Everybody was just like jaw hanging open. It's a magic moment. I've been skating for about 12 years up here, and I've never seen it like that. We had an unusually cold but dry transition into winter, so this was a very unusual environmental conditions. The lake bottom, it's rock instead of soil, and so the water is really clear. being able to look down 3 or 4 meters and see what's on the bottom, it reminded me of snorkeling more than any other activity that I've done. And since it took 10 years, you know, maybe longer for those conditions to present this year, I think it might be another decade before we get to see something like that again. I live here, like I get access to stuff, you know, kind of like this year round, and it was still mind-blowing for me. Like, it was that special.
All right, how many of you, I certainly am, jealous looking at those pictures, thinking how fantastic it would be to be skating on that ice. But Luke points out, you got to be careful, and they made sure that they had at least 4 inches, 10 centimeters, the kind of minimum safe thickness of ice. They also had ice picks and ropes, and so, you know, if you're thinking about doing that kind of skating on those kinds of conditions, do take care. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Ian Hannah-Mansing. Good night from Vancouver.